All right, my good people, what's going on? This is Charles Madison of Nexxlegacy Radio alongside Danielle Carroll, aka Deny Azure. And I have this beautiful guest that's here to give us some game, not just real game, life game, business game, whatever game I feel like we need to talk about, we should discuss and do it on a high level and get to know Shantell Smith and what she does for Training for Life. Because I think it's if anybody gets a chance to be able to take a listen to or not just today, but just in general, as far as what she does, how she does it, and why she does it. It's going to be important for everybody to tap in because I feel like we all need to, and in some cases, kind of look in the mirror ourselves. So, who better to do it than Shantell Smith on Next Legacy Radio? What's going on, dear?
Thank you. What's going on? Today is a beautiful day, right?
Absolutely.
I always look at it anytime you can get yourself up, you are having a great day.
Absolutely. Especially in your right mind.
Well, that's also true. That is also true, 100%. I want to,
Absolutely.
I want to get started by asking you, this journey that you created with Training
Mhm.
for Life. I would love to dive right into it and ask literally, so you can talk to the world. How did you get started doing it?
Um, so this has been a lifelong journey. Training for Life is my passion company. I literally, as a kid, my mother would ask us, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" All I could tell her was, "I love helping people. I want to be married, and I want to work on computers."
All right.
And she was like, okay, at that time, computers had just really started coming out. They were this huge, big thing, you know. And she was like, you want to work on computers, really? And you want to be married? Mm-hmm. And help people how? I said, however they need help. That's all I could tell you, however they needed help. And over the years, from a 15-year career in law enforcement at different capacities in Atlanta, Georgia, to being a social worker for over 20 plus years, working started off with DHS in Atlanta. Uh, and it was fulfilling my passion, but there were limitations. And because there were limitations, I wanted to figure out what is the best way to help people and meet them where they are and help them get to where they're desiring to be. And that requires me not to be limited by my education, limited by rules and stigmas and expectations from the world, but actually getting in there and sitting down and having a real conversation and saying, how can I help you? Like, what are you desiring to do with your life? And when someone tells you that, in the midst of them telling me, because gifts come without repentance, right?
Right.
Um, I'm a prophet by birth. And so I hear what they're saying, but I see so much more. And so because I could see what they weren't saying, then I understand the root causes of some of the things that they've struggled with or that they're struggling with. And so my first notion, my first response always is to, if you're in the church arena, I would say, let's have a deliverance. Let's talk about getting you free. In the world, I'm going to say, let's do a soul healing session because we understand that scripture tells us, beloved, I wish above all things that you will prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. So our soul has to be in health, right? In order for the rest of us to be in health. And that's the part that the world forgets. And so they think that, financially I can be healthy and my marriage can be good, but you're struggling with your children, in your relationships. You're struggling in your physical health, and you're not understanding that you're digging a grave with a spoon. And all of these things are happening in your life. And you're like, I built this massive fortune. And then the last years of your life, you spend it and deplete it so that you can try to gain health again. And instead of you being able to leave an inheritance for your children's children, you're now stuck with leaving nothing for your children because you were trying to prolong your life. And so we figure out on the front end of this, how do we train for life? Because life happens to us every single day, 365, 66 on a leap year. And so we get it all together. I help people with their mental, emotional, because I went to school. I have my master's in social work, but I didn't get licensed because I didn't want the government to limit how I could help people, how I could use what they taught me, right? I am a pastor. I'm a life coach. I'm a mentor. But more importantly, I'm a child who had the pleasure of growing up under my grandmother, my great grandmother, actually, who lived to be 99 years old. And she was still in her right mind. And she told me a week before she did it, she said, I'm getting really tired of how the world is looking. And so a week after she turned 99, she said, I just want to go to sleep and not wake up. And that's exactly what happened a week later. She went to sleep and just did not wake up.
Wow.
And so when I tell people, you got to understand that takes a type of living, takes a type of commitment to be still in your right mind, still healthy, still vibrant, still able to go out in your garden and do all you need to do. The music come on, your favorite song come on, you still can dance, you still can cut a jig, you still can jack your sons up, you still can rule and reign over your family as the matriarch. And you still can do it all with the herbs of the ground, the leaves of the trees, and your body is in health and it responds.
You got me to dive right deep into it, so that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna get right into it, just based on what you're saying. Gloves off. So let's go. And when I say that, I'm talking about, like, I always come with this analogy. I look at it. It's literally it's right here on my wall where it says we're all living in cages with the door wide open. And I look at that every day as a reminder to myself every day that thinking outside of the box should be normal. Being able to do some of the things that you were put on this earth to do should be normal. When you think about the things that you're here for a reason, I feel like I was put on this earth to serve. And during this journey, I had a lot of moments where the clarity wasn't clarifying who I wanted to be. But later on in life, I tried to figure out, like, okay, this is it. This is what I'm surrendering to, right? So habits need to start forming. Why do we still live in cages with the door wide open?
Because no one told us the door was unlocked. Sometimes the door is even closed, but it's unlocked. Think about it. If Christ said, I rose and gave you the keys of life, then guess what? You already have the keys. Even if it was locked, you have the keys. Just use it. Being a child, who my very first memory at the age of 4 was being at my secondary babysitter's house, because my mother and father had divorced. But my secondary babysitter's house, and she was outside hanging clothes on the line. And I was in her room because all the other kids had to take naps. I didn't have to take naps. And so, but her husband came home from work and I heard the keys hit the table that was right beside the front door. And I knew he was going to come upstairs and break me. And so being a victim of that, but being who I am, I didn't know that this was something that had already happened. Because in my mind, it was like, why is this terror coming over me? And I thought, let me jump under the bed and hide. But I had a flash of him pulling me out by my legs. I was like, that already happened. And then I thought, hide in the closet. You know how kids do, right? But I remember him coming and finding me. I thought, jump in the tub and pull the shower curtain back. And I remember him coming and finding me. And so I was like, so this happened before. So I'm standing there. When he gets to the top of the steps, I'm literally doing this. To this day, I can't tell you what his face looked like, and I can remember things all the way back till I was 4. But while he was doing whatever he was doing, my physical body, my spirit was showing me the faces of the men who molested all the women in my family. They were flying at me. Because gifts come without repentance, and people don't teach you as a child, you have gifts, what these gifts are, what this means, then I had to go on a journey. And I don't talk about areas of my life where I'm not healed at. So please don't feel sorry for me, because guess what? All of it created me to be who I am today. Because the conversation I had with my father, I didn't tell him what happened to me, but I did tell him I needed him to show me how to be strong like him. So he got me my first pair of weights. So at 4 years old, I'm lifting weights. It was only 1 pound, but I was doing some stuff in my mind, right? He showed me how to properly do push-ups, real push-ups, not the girl stuff. He taught me how to do pull-ups. And he showed me, he taught me how to not injure my body in doing so. But that taught me at that age, I didn't understand. It was teaching me a level of discipline, a level of commitment, and a level of focus that I would need for later on in life. And so now I can go back and help someone who's a bit a victim of this. I can go back and help someone who has had abortions because they became very promiscuous, because they were constantly being attacked, because they didn't understand that the first time someone violated them, they left a spirit with them, and like spirits attract like spirits. So every pedophile that saw them and came in contact with them was attracted to them because he saw the spirit that had already been placed on them. And so they were then subsequently re-attacked, re-traumatized. And so once you go through and grow through something like that, you now have the capacity, once you're healed, to go back and help those who are still struggling and stuck. So now, because they're sitting in this cage, for them, it's like a big dark room with all the windows blacked out and everything. And they don't understand that the door is not even shut all the way. And
Right.
But the moment you can bring them to a place where they can stand up and actually walk to the door and open it for the first time and allow sun to come in, the SON, to come in, then they'll be able to start seeing the light, and not just the light outside, but the light in them. And at that point, you can't stop them from chasing healing, chasing wholeness, because they want to be free of the brokenness.
Yeah. It's amazing to hear you talk about not just your journey, but just how you took your journey and turned it into a situation where you can be able to pay it forward in a sense and give it to people. Because I truly believe in that we are put on this earth to serve in some capacity to people. I really and truly believe that. I also believe in situations where, as people, we have to learn how to surrender to the cause that you want to do when it comes to that. Sometimes we always kind of dabble into, you know what, I'll do it. But then you don't, like, to me, and I tell this to Denia all the time, and I tell it to everyone, really, like, it takes 21 days to make whatever it is into a habit. If it's a good habit, 21 days in a row, if you do it, it's going to be a great one.
Can I tell you a secret?
What's that?
21 days makes it something that is normal.
There you go.
But it actually takes 90 days to make it a habit, because the first 30 days of it, you're still trying to normalize it in your mind. And your mind still tries to struggle and fight, because the minute you have something that derails you, distracts you, that hits you hard, one of those gut checks that happen in life, then we'll forget that habit, because we're going to go back to the things that we know that we've been doing for forever, right? But if you can continue it. Now, when you get to day 61, now you're talking about, okay, I can almost fly on autopilot. But even on autopilot, as long as you don't get a gut check, you'll keep going in it. But I promise you, it takes about 90 days. And that's why I tell people, when you want to work with me, don't just tell me you're going to commit for 2 months. No, give me 90 days to help you see how you can help yourself. Give me 90 days to show you that you deserve more, that you are enough, that you are strong enough, brave enough, smart enough. You are powerful enough to come out of this situation and come out as pure gold.
Okay, I got you, Shantell. You just gave me some game right now, because you're absolutely right. Because I put it in my mind where it's like, because I tell myself, you're right. A sense of normalcy happens within that 21-day span. But if you continue on after that, yes, it's a habit. And not only that, for me, especially if it's something that I really and truly am diving into, to be a better person, to be a better business person, to be a better father, to be a better me. I develop all these things as I go and talk to the people about the word surrender. Because to me, my analogy of it, it's not a weakness, it is a strength, where you can be able to be laser focused on surrendering to your cause, surrendering to who you believe in, surrender to the purpose of doing exactly what we said, giving back to others.
So for me, surrender looks more like, first, that level of, it's not about giving up, but it's that level of releasing control and trusting the process of growth, of healing, and even guidance. Surrender becomes a way of letting go of your fear, letting go of all the resistance that we kind of have and we in ourselves, right? First, it has to happen in us first before it can happen out of us, right? And then even that need to control outcomes, because let's be real, if we actually had control of all the outcomes, then wouldn't we already be living the lives that we dreamed of?
Absolutely.
So when you can fully align yourself with purpose, literally align your heart with healing and allow that transformation time to flow through us as us, spirit, emotions, body, and even in your finances, then you actually become the epitome of surrender. I tell people who walk around here thinking, oh, that person is wise. I tell people, okay, but I have to see the wisdom. And people are like, what do you mean? How can you see wisdom? I said, because wisdom is the practical application of knowledge. So if you're not doing it, you can speak it all day long. But if you're not doing it, if you're not living it, if you're not walking it out, it doesn't matter, right? So surrender is literally taking power and understanding how to internalize it and be the surrender yourself. Be that sacrifice.
Wow. Tonight, go ahead.
So, Shantell, once again, thank you for being here. It's so amazing. I got to connect with Shantell through a line level, and she was just such a beautiful spirit. We just stayed connected. And so, my question for you is, what was the first step that you took toward healing after everything was happening?
The first step I took towards healing, um, I was about, so that incident happened somewhere around early spring when I was 4. My mother bought her first house when I was 4 that December. She bought it, and that was her birthday gift to herself. Her birthday's towards the end of December. And um, we moved in, and me being who I am, I was supposed to be in the driveway, and my ball bounced past the driveway. So I had to go get it, but I had to wait for them to go in the house with the furniture and know they were taking bedroom furniture because that meant they had to go all the way in the house. So I had a little more time. And I met the neighbor. The neighbors was a pastor and a first lady. They had 6 children. But the pastor was he was a very powerful prophet. So by the time I was 6, I started going over to his house on Saturday mornings
Mhm.
before my track meet. So this was, I mean, crack of dawn, because if you know what time track meets start,
Yep.
yeah, it was crack of dawn. His wife would cook breakfast, whatever I wanted. His family had to eat whatever Shantell wanted for breakfast. And so I would go and sit and talk with him. And I would tell him about what happened to me all week long. And he would listen and he would give me wise counsel. Now, I didn't understand then what was going on and what I was seeking and searching after. I just knew that he had something that I saw that I wanted.
Mm.
I had to figure out how to get it out of him so that I can obtain it and possess it and make it mine.
Yes.
And so in that learning how to open up and test him to see if I could trust him. Because, I had been abused by men. So I had to test him to see if I could trust him.
Right.
And he never failed any of the tests. And because of that, I was able to open up to him. Like, it's funny because to this day, his oldest granddaughter, her middle name is Shantell after me. So,
Wow.
but yes, because I became that close to that family. And ironically enough, their youngest son, I introduced him at 5. I took him after he graduated from high school over to my front door and introduced my mom to him. My mom was a little older. And I said, I was told that the two of you need to meet and talk. And can I tell you, they met and talked and became great friends. He fell in love with my mom.
Wow.
Last year in September,
Mm-hmm.
they got married. I said it took y'all over 50 years to listen to Little Prophet, right? But it's okay. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it.
Wow, that's amazing. But it shows that, certain people are in your life for a reason,
Absolutely.
and the fact that you have been able to heal, and what you're doing now is healing people is incredible. When I first told Charles about you, I was saying that what I love about you when it comes to the way that you're doing your life coaching is that you do it holistically, and you think about the mind, body, and the soul, and that is so important.
Absolutely. I I would have people come to me for me to help them. And if I felt like I failed or I didn't help them to the level that I saw I could help them, then I would put my business on the back burner and I'd go back and get education so that I can help them. So not only do I have my master's in social work, I'm 4 classes away from an MBA, and I'm not going to go back and get them because they're in math. And guess what? When you added letters to my numbers and said we were still doing math, I had some problems. But that was okay. That was okay. It's all right. It's all right. But on top of that, I spent the last 3.5 years in the financial industry. And so I was learning because, again, I could not help a client. And so I had to go back to figure out and get the learning and get the training. So I became an insurance agent, life, health, accident. I became a financial broker so that I can learn more, so I can understand about the vehicles that people need to use and learn to use to put their money in so that the money goes out and work just as hard as you do Monday through Friday. And guess what? There's some vehicles where your money is connected to the stock market. And when the stock market goes up, your money goes up. But when the stock market goes down, your money says, hey, I'm going to jump off right here. And I'm going to stay right here till you come back up this way. Okay. And people are like, what? Yes. And so learning these things and learning how to understand this and teach this to people, that you can make sure that you are able to leave an inheritance for your children's children. We want to look like the Rockefellers. We don't want to just talk about it. We want to be about it. We don't want to walk around with Gucci bags and belt buckles and, you know what I'm saying, Louis Vuitton shoes and all this other stuff. But our bank account is negative and our grandchildren don't understand why Mimi or Grandma or Nana can't do anything to help me educational wise, financial wise. I need some money so I can play football because I'm dreaming of going to the NFL. Guess what? I'm going to sow into that. You know, we want to be able to do that. And if you're not putting your money in the right vehicles, then you're not going to be able to do that. And so when I say we're going to train for life, we're going to train for every aspect of life.
If you could ask me, or if you can answer this, I always what you said is on point, because I'm not impressed with the Gucci bags and the zero negative bank account, because to me that all you're doing is really prolonging somebody else's inheritance and legacy by, I'm not saying you can't have nice things, but I'm just saying when it doesn't match with what you're trying to do with yourself long term, then make it make sense in regards to that. Why do you think a lot of us are in a situation where we have to put on a facade of wanting to be in the moment by purchasing all these things, knowing that you're in debt, or doing some of these things to please others? Why do you think that's become the norm with so many different people?
Because they don't understand the brokenness in their soul. So here's the thing. When you have a trauma, when you have rejection, when you have grief, you have abandonment issues, all of these things make a hole in your soul. So if you can imagine a bucket that has a couple of holes in it, different levels, different locations, and so forth, you fill it up with water and you're trying desperately to go and put out a fire, right? But guess what? By the time you get to the fire, it's literally a few drops of water left in the bucket because of all the holes. So this is what the enemy is doing. He's already convinced the world that he doesn't exist. Great. And since you fell into that part, then guess what? He uses all of your brokenness and all of your holes that you have in your soul as footholds so that he can have watchers, so that he can have send things to trigger. You can start getting on right path. You can start saving. You can start working on debt relief and all these other things. And then guess what happens? Some big thing happens. The car breaks down. Now I got to get another car, or I'm in an accident. The car's totaled. Now I got to get a whole new car. Or something in the house breaks down. I didn't have any money set aside for that. Guess what? And I've been paying the minimum for insurance, so it doesn't cover that. You see what I'm saying? So it's all triggers. But what we don't understand is when we fail to plug the holes, when we fail to heal our soul, you leave yourself open and susceptible to everything and anything that comes. Remember how your grandmother used to say to you, baby, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So then if you don't stand for healing, guess what? You will be broken.
Mm.
And if you're broken, cycling and circling literally pulls you down. That's why when you understand that healing is mandatory, it's not an option. And everyone needs to heal. Everyone needs to be delivered. Everyone needs to be do a checkup from the neck up, because it's not just about your mind. People are like, oh, well, my brain is fine. I can remember it, but your mind is not your brain. Your brain is just a receptor.
Right.
Your mind is your consciousness. So if your mind is your consciousness, your mind is what keeps your heart beating and you breathing, even when you're not paying attention to it or thinking about it. So if you don't work on healing the soul, which is your mind, your will, and your emotions, then guess what? The spirit man that is you will be subject to that soul. But you're an eternal being, and you were called to rule and reign in this realm. But if you're not ruling and reigning in this realm, then you have to wonder, what is ruling and reigning in me and through me? And that would be your soul. But when you turn the tables back around, your spirit is supposed to be in control. Your spirit is supposed to be the dominating force, because that is who you are. Because every gift and talent that you're ever going to need in life was already placed in you before the foundations of the world. Everything you need is already in you. You just have to make sure that you run into the right people to unlock it, to pull it up, to bring it out, to bring healing so they can plug the holes. So now guess what? It becomes manifested in you, and the light that is you begins to shine, not just in you, but out of you. It now becomes contagious, and now we can be infectious in the world, and everyone is desiring the light.
And Chantel, it is a very vulnerable moment when you reach that threshold of who you are. Everything that you just mentioned strips down to your soul, and it makes you so vulnerable and so exposed that I get sometimes some people don't want to go there because the truth is hard to adjust or digest or swallow or deal with on a regular basis. So the facade is easier to manifest itself because I don't have to be me. I can go be somebody else somewhere else and be okay with it. But the thing I always want to say, then you can just add on this, because to me, when people are dug into that mindset, it's
Mhm.
because they don't want to reveal their true selves, and sometimes it's scary.
Mhm.
How how can we evolve when we are? I'm combining this with generational curses because we dug into that throughout, at least for me, throughout my life, where I've seen certain repetitive things come.
Mhm.
I didn't want to be the kind of father that my father was, so I wanted to do everything different. And literally, it could be a good thing though, but also
Mhm.
it could be, I can be overcompensating for the lack of that too. So I knew that in my mind as I'm parenting. My daughter's 22 now, but I knew that in my mind. I know where I hit the gas, but I also know when to stop and pull up and just make sure that I pump the brakes. So I won't over suffocate my daughter with being over love, quote unquote, because I'm trying to prove a point. Sometimes you have to figure that out. But generational curses is real. How do we as a society, I'm not just saying that because we're black folk
Mhm.
here. I'm just talking about everybody. How do we break these things?
So you got to first understand the root of a thing. When you address the root of a thing, and like you said, it is a vulnerable moment. That's why I would tell people, if you are wanting to get healed, please don't go seek out just anybody. Just don't think because it says confess your sins one to another that you're going to go to anybody and just confess your sins, because guess what, you might be confessing to a snake. Now they're going to use that bullet you gave them to shoot you the moment you turn your back.
Yep.
So you want to make sure that when you're confessing, that you're confessing to someone who is trustworthy, someone who has lived it, someone who has overcome it, and now they can bring you out. I can't lead you somewhere that I've never been. If I've never been to Chicago, guess what? I cannot be your tour guide when we get there.
Amen to that.
Right.
So now,
Exactly.
if that be the case, then unless you know someone who has done some of the things, like I had a major back injury. They were telling me that I was months away from needing back surgery. I had gained over 100 pounds. I was 300 pounds, and I was struggling in my health and other areas of my body. And I still was not even able to walk a whole mile without having to stop and sit down because the pain was so severe. I sat in my prayer room, and with the Lord leading me and the Holy Spirit leading me, I went back 16 generations to the person who made a covenant with a spirit, because she had what would be now considered the equivalency of severe scoliosis.
Wow.
And she made a pact with a demon to heal her back. And in the pact, she said, I just don't want my children and my grandchildren to suffer with this disease. But can I tell you that almost every other woman in my family has had back issues to the point where they ended up in wheelchairs, bedridden, all these other things. Even my mother has had surgery on her back and her neck. Her sisters had surgery on her neck and her. I'm like, it stops with me. It stops with me. So then that meant I had to repent for her covenant, and I had to break the covenant. After I broke the covenant, then I had to go back through and I had to do the work of it, right? Because I literally was on the floor sitting there for over 2.5 hours and didn't even understand what, because of course, outside of our realm, time does not exist.
Mhm.
But when I came back to myself, I literally had been sitting on the floor for over 2.5 hours, and I couldn't get up without any assistance or help.
Mm.
And I went on a journey. I was chasing my health. I went chasing the thing that had been eluding me. I've lost over 100 pounds. Do you see me hanging loose skin? No,
Yeah.
because I went back to doing everything my great grandmother taught me, from castor oil packs to making sure that I'm using herbs, to I'm doing dry rubs, to I'm doing my lymphatic scrubbing every single day. You can talk about a whole bunch of things, but let me explain something to you. Our ancestors, they knew some stuff. And if you want to negate all of it, that's on you. But I promise you, when you're dealing with the generational curses, you have to attack it in the spirit and the natural, the physical. I mean, because if we don't, even the mental and emotional parts of it, because there's still trauma that is attached to it. So when you deal with the root cause of it, now I can easily deal with every stem, limb, branch, and stalk that grew from it.
Mm-hmm.
But until I address that root, uproot it, and then, like, what is her name? The Pimple Popper, Dr. Pimple Popper.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just get all the stuff out. You got to get that encasement out of it as well.
Yep.
It takes skill, it takes practice, it takes years of education and years of training. And I promise you, even when it's over, I have to go back in and I have to contact my apostle and my husband, say, pray for me, because I just came out of a session. And they know exactly what I'm talking about, because, and I don't have to share it because I have covering. It's not an easy thing. But if it was easy, guess what?
Everybody would
Everybody's doing it.
Exactly. Exactly. Shantell Smith, deny before you ask another question. I gotta ask you this about the transferring of energy when it comes to people that you are either in connection with, be it if it's relationships, friendships, business partners, etc. I always feel like this. I always, I'm a self-proclaimed empath. I can feel certain things. I'm just claiming it because to me, truly, that's just what I feel. But also, saying that is to say this. I think anybody that you are with, and I tell this to people, yeah, I'm just saying this as a single guy. Dating is cool, but dating in 2025 kind of sucks because it. I'm, I'm just saying this because I just feel like it's people that stay married just stay married because it's dark out here, it's dusty, it's musty, it doesn't make any sense in some occasion. You can put yourself into so many different different ways, but dating life, just like trying to maintain a marriage, it takes a level of consistency in what you do. Just even being in business, everything that I'm talking about, it's a level of consistency that you got to have, and everything that we talked about, surrendering. But nowadays, you can't just exchange anything with anybody in regards to that because you don't know what they going through if they're not completely transparent, right?
Absolutely. Don't say you're a self-proclaimed empath. Go ahead and claim it. You're an empath
I'm
because
claiming.
you can feel it. I mean, the people in the church, they think, oh, that's a negative word. But let me explain this to you. Outside of religion and tradition, gifts are gifts and they come without repentance. I am who I am and I'm who God made me to be. And when I fully accept all of it, now I can walk in it. Now I can learn more from it. Now I can begin to operate in it and control it better and more. So now you can begin to walk into a room and you can scan the room and know the temperature in the room. And instead of you being a thermostat just reflecting the temperature, now you become a thermometer and displaying the temperature. Now you become a thermostat and you can change the temperature in the room. Now you become the agent of light. Now you can come in there and you can shine brightly. How the little song say, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let your light shine so that men will see, right? So don't say you are an empath. You do know. And guess what? When you hang around broke people, guess what? How your grandmother used to say, you're gonna be the next one. When you hang around criminals, guess what? You're gonna be the next one. When you hang around wealthy people, guess what? You're gonna be the next one. I don't want to be the best person or the strongest person or the wisest person in the room. I want to be the least of them. Why? Because that means that I'm in a room that now I get to grow in. I get to learn from. I can go to anybody in here and I can learn some tips and tips. I don't care about your personality because guess what? We wrestle not against flesh and blood. It's against the spirits and principalities and rulers and high places and wickedness. So I'm not worried about all that other stuff. You can be, as I call them, sandpaper people. All that means to me is that you're going to smooth out some of my rough edges and make me a better version of me. That's all that means. But until we learn how to come together and simply say, you know what, I have to increase the level of the people that I'm around, because birds of a feather flock together. You can expect whatever you inspect. So if you're not expecting something great, then guess what? That means you're not expecting to make sure the greatness is in the area. So when you want to do better, when you want to be better, guess what? You'll start seeking better. You'll start chasing better. As a child, I didn't understand it, but I knew that in my household, they were broken. And I was sitting to look out the window. And my mother, one of the worst beatings I ever got, she asked me and I told her, I said, I don't want to answer you. She said, why do you keep looking at this window? I said, I really don't want to answer you. And she was like, Shantell, why do you keep looking at this window? I said, if I tell you, you're going to get upset. She's like, girl, just why you keep looking out the window? I said, because I think all of y'all in here are crazy. And I'm looking for my real parents to come around the corner any moment to get me. And so I'm keeping my eye out for them. And that was one of the worst beatings I got. So, I mean, I knew it. I told her, but she didn't believe me until I said it. So it was okay. But at the same time, I have to admit, I was sent to heal the bloodline. So that meant I had to be willing to be the black sheep. I had to be willing to be the outcast. I had to be willing to be the one that was talked about, put down, judge. You so light skinned. Oh, she got the white people hair. No, I don't. She thinks she think that. No, I don't. I really don't. Hadn't even thought about it. I just wanted to love you. And so I can honestly say now, I'm in my 50s. My mother's in her 70s. And my mother's finally starting to be healed from all the traumas of her past. My mother's walking her best life ever. And this is after I had to sacrifice 2 years of making sure every 3 to 4 months I was heading to Georgia because the enemy tried to attack her body with cancer. And I told him, you won't have her. And I actually picked up the phone and called her. I said, ma'am, let me explain to you. All a parent we all have left, because I have 2 older sisters. And I said, you don't have permission to go anywhere. So guess what? I said, I'm going to come and do for you what your grandmother would have done for you. And all the stuff that you've forgotten, I'm getting ready to remind you. So I had her change her diet. I had her change how she ate, change what she drank, change how she lived her life. She started doing foot detox every week. Because what? You're going to get rid of all the toxins, all the parasites, all the things that are trying to take you away from us. Because guess what? They don't have control over you. You are giving up control. And guess what? We're going to take it back.
Yes.
Real quick, Denia, sorry, but I gotta say this. I love your mindset and your attacking positive and adding more light to people's lives and so many different things you do. I look at life as that chessboard or something like that we play. There's so many different things that I feel like are put on earth to preserve us as well as eliminate us as well. There's a lot of things that's going on that's man-made that is being created that destroys us. But there are some things that was left here for us to learn, to discover, to do more, to preserve what we do. But people are so fixated in their minds, or not just that, to enhance certain things that's not real, that doesn't preserve. Even in businesses, people are in a situation where, you look at the Walt Disneys, and you mentioned Rockefellers earlier. So many people have set it up for their generation beyond them to succeed, thrive, and things like that. But I'm just keeping it true because we're Black folks in this room right now, that there's very few of us that have excelled to that point. Right. We got to stop that.
So you mentioned the word chess. So I'm just going to tell you, I have 2 sons and I have a daughter. I adopted my daughter when I was 25. She was 15. I had her for 2 months. Now she was 5 months pregnant. So I became a grandmother at 25. I cried for about 2 weeks. I was like, you made me a ghetto statistic, but we got over that, right? And we're going to keep it moving, right? But my sons, at the age of 8, they had to learn how to play chess. In my house, that was a mandatory thing. You had to learn how to play chess. When I told them, and I threatened them the same way my dad did me. By the time you're 9, you better learn how to beat me on a chessboard and make me have to seriously think about my next move. So they would sit there and battle each other until they got better. They read books about it till they got better. By the time they turned 9, because they're 3 years apart, they was fierce on the chessboard, still are. And so then I started teaching them how chess is about the game of life. The 4 corners of the chessboard are the 4 corners of the world. Your row of pawns, guess what? Those your classmates, your associates, your co-workers, those are people who, if you treat them right, those relationships to get you in places and spaces that you normally would not have access to. However, every king needs a home row. The home row. Every king needs a castle, someplace that you can go to, that you can take off your mask, you can let down your hair, you can breathe, you can cry if you need to cry, you can scream if you need to scream, and you know that you're safe and you have sanctuary, right? Every king needs a bishop. You need someone that's wiser than you, that's going to speak life into you, and that's going to be able to lay out your situations, good, bad, and indifferent, and let you know how to move and how you should do it. And then you have to make your own decisions. Every king needs that rook in that knight. That's your ride or die friends. That's the ones when you out there, opponent, y'all out there trying to hit everything that will split. Y'all not understanding that in doing so, every time you sleep with somebody, you splitting your inheritance from God with them. But that's okay. We're not gonna go there. Anyway, but then when you decide I'm going to get my life together, we need to up our game, and it's time for us to stop playing kids games and trying to grow up. Your friends are like, you know what? You're right. Let's do this, and they're gonna go move with you, right? But then every king needs the baddest thing on a chessboard, and that's a queen. And I told my kids, until you're old enough to choose one for yourself, I am she. The queen on the chessboard will go out and defend her castle. And then the next move, she's going to come back and click to make sure that home is safe. And so I taught my kids that lesson. And then when they got into teenagers, we could have conversations like this. Every Friday was family night. So we had whatever leftovers, you got to keep whatever you want to keep. The rest of it we trashed, okay? And then they picked whatever movie we watched. They picked whatever games we played. But we had real conversations. And those conversations consisted of me teaching them how to track a cycle, me teaching them how to do different things, how to answer different questions, how to whatever they want to talk about, even if they want to talk about my life and my story, whatever they wanted to talk about was open game. And so, but our conversations would go like this when they got older. You got in trouble at school for this. So talk to me about how this move that you did hindered you, helped you, or was neutral, good, bad, and different. I need you to talk to me 3 ways out in each direction. Let's go. So then it became a thing of them thinking before they acted, because they didn't want to have that conversation with me on a regular basis.
Love it.
And so if we were to teach our children at a young age, when their minds are like sponges, not just different languages, not just different techniques, but teaching them how to communicate, teaching them how to evaluate, teaching them how to problem solve, teaching them how to understand good, bad, and different, and move it out in 3 different ways, and be realistic with yourself. Don't lie to you, so that way you won't have the reason to lie to me, right? So then when you teach a child these things at a young age, now they grow up with the tools and the tips that's needed so that they can make rational decisions in heated situations that don't get them shot and killed. They get to make rational decisions in calm situations that get them the keys to the car, the keys to the house, the keys to whatever they're trying to get, right? They get to understand how to maneuver in different places and spaces. My children can go to a boardroom or they can go to Bankhead Highway. And I did that so that when life comes at you, and it will come, that's a guarantee it's going to come. You're equipped to know that when it gut checks you, be like Muhammad Ali. It doesn't matter how hard they hit you. What matters is how fast you can get back up and how fast can you hit again. Can you hit them?
Absolutely. I think you said so much, and because when you think about life and choices, I love the fact that you were so open with their kids, and you left it so they can communicate with you. And had no fear of doing so. And I think the biggest piece that a lot of parents don't understand is that whole thing of having kids be seen and not heard is why we're in the position that we're in right now with so many situations. Because so many kids are afraid to say that something's wrong. So many kids are afraid to say, my teacher's not doing right. I know when I was in school, thank God my mom was open, because when my teacher was acting up, I have said something. I was quick to push back. My dad was kind of the one that was just kind of, he was, he'd go to pick up a car card, but he didn't want to deal with the drama. My mom was like, oh, what they say? Oh, okay, let me go ahead and come. I'm coming up there right now. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you need to be, that parent that's gonna say, you know what? That wasn't right. I know that wasn't right. And my child wouldn't come tell me that wasn't right. So you need to fix your behavior. You know what I'm saying? Like you need parents like that are gonna allow their kids to be children, but then also allow them to express themselves and allow them to be comfortable.
So for me, when my kids were younger, I volunteered at their school. On my off days, I always made sure I had one off day during the week, and I was going to go volunteer at the school. The people at the school knew me, and my kids knew that I was going to be there, because if you're not there to see it, then guess what? You won't understand it.
That part.
But when something happens, and trust me, because of who they are, something's going to happen. You are able to help them navigate. My oldest son, there are two things about him I loved. He is a carefree spirit, and he is very, very gifted and talented. Anything he tells you he thinks about doing, he's going to do it. He was in 2 movies because he told me, Mom, I think I want to dance, after literally torturing me all his childhood for him saying he wanted to be a vet. So I had to take him to the library every other week for him to check out all the books and movies that he could check out about different species, different phylums, different animals, from the reptiles to the lizards to the mammals to the, yes, all of it. And then for him to only turn around and tell me when he found out he had a beat and he could dance in the 10th grade, Mom, I want to dance. Okay, you want to dance. So what does that mean for me? So he started dancing. He's like, I think I really want to pursue this. Okay, let's do that. So he started a group. Okay, what are you going to do with this group? Because for me, you're not just doing something to do it. So what are we going to do with it? So he's like, I want to be in movies. So I said, okay. So he's like, I heard about some auditions. Okay, where are they? He told me. I took him. And he ended up in 2 movies. He was in Stump the Art 2 and Step Up 3. Wow. And so then he went to college and got hooked up with some Hebrew Israelites or whatever, but they convinced him of some things, and that's okay, because I want you to have faith, believe it, stretch your wings, whatever. But when they tried to pull him away from me, now you got a problem, because what we're not going to do, you're not going to isolate yourself from our family. And I don't care about the family as a whole, but you're not going to isolate yourself from me, because I was the one who carried you. I was the one who was in hard labor for 6 days that brought you here. I was the one who, Okay, so no, that's not going to happen. But the other thing about my child is I know him, I know his faults.
Mhm.
So he will take my openness and he will be the person that you try to use it against me if he thought it would benefit him. And so that's why I tell people, don't tell anybody anything about your life that you have not been healed from, because if you're
Mhm.
not healed from it, they can use it as a bullet to shoot you.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
time we are taken out by those friendly fires, right? The fire that came from, but not behind enemy lines, that became from behind our back, right? Because we thought the people back there we could trust. So when you are choosing who you're going to have as your ride and live, not ride and die, we don't talk death language, ride and live partner, you want to make sure that there's somebody who's going to be open. It's going to be somebody to continue to uplift you, because we all going to have those days when we're down. We're all going to have those days when it's hard to get out the bed and you're like, ooh, okay. But you need somebody that's going to say, come on, let's just get up. We're going to sit up. We're going to take one step forward. Okay. We're going to do
Yes.
one thing today that's going to benefit us. That's going to help us grow. And if you have those people in your life consistently, then all of you all are going to do that at another one time or another for each other. And
Mhm.
as you're growing through life, as you're growing through the situations, as you're growing through all these things, we're making sure that we're healing. We're making sure that we're whole. We're making sure that we're checking on each other. We're making sure that we're helping each other, supporting each other. I'm going to support your business. You support mine. Guess what? We're going to keep flowing into each other. Why? Because this is how we do life together. That's why I tell people, if we as a people will keep our finances in our community at least 9 to 12 cycles, this whole generations, the next 10 to 12 generations will look totally different. We won't even talk about the fact that, the new genocide or whatever that has taken out billions and billions of black babies. But that's okay. We're not going to talk about that part. But what
Fact.
we're going to say is we are now less than 0.1% away from reaching the levels that the Indians did when they were not able to repopulate their community.
Oh.
And
Fact.
so we have to understand that this is real, and we have got to come together and start loving each other past our hurts, past our idiosyncrasies, past our brokenness. Be willing to love somebody that it covers a multitude of their sins and yours, so that we can become whole again. It is the wholeness that is going to help us to heal our generations, heal our finances, heal our love, heal our family structure, heal our communities, where you don't just live in a place that don't know your neighbors by name. You don't live in a place and they don't know you and you don't know them, and something happened and your child stuck outside or whatever, and your child is just out there crying in the rain and don't have nowhere to go. No, we're going to come back to a place of community, because it takes a village to raise one child.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to be able to not just express that, but lead it with action in just a way where we can be able to not just be better ourselves, but let that radiate with other people so they may be inspired by the things that you say and the things that you do, and how it's impactful if people can go to training with the number 4lifeinc.info to get to know Shantell Smith and to learn more about the things that she does with her business and how it grows and becomes what it needs to be. I always look at it like this, Chantel, and I've lived my life a lot of this. Like, I'm super flawed, and sometimes I'm the problem too, but I'm working on it. But I always tell people that my effort game is unmatched. Why? Because I try every single time to be a better person than I was yesterday and the day before, and so on and so forth. And that's just pure motivation because I want to do more and be more for others. And I think it's important for people to just let that just shine and just let it be for everyone. If people have that, I'm not saying everybody got to think like me. You could do it in some other form that will become that. But I always feel like there's pieces of us that will will always be where it needs to be. Some flawed, some motivated as well to do better. And I think that just your journey, my journey, Denia's journey, people out there who are curious beyond belief can just discover themselves. I always tell people this: just find out who you are and just look in the damn mirror and just ask yourself, be curious about yourself. Because if you don't do that, you're going to have problems.
Absolutely. I see some of the questions, and someone asked, what makes you want to get up and live stream? Yes, a
No, they're
couple
trolling.
right there. I, you know, I, because there's so many people who truly, truly don't understand that there is a better way.
Hmm.
There is healing that is an option.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it so much pushback, so much hatred, so much shade thrown to so many different people in different ways for different things? Be who you are. I'm gonna be who I am. And guess what? We can coexist in the same space and places, and we don't ever have to interact together.
Right.
But the love is genuine. I'm gonna love you because you're here. I'm gonna love you because you deserve to be loved. Even in my brokenness and your brokenness, you deserve to be loved. And I tell anybody, healing is not, it's not a one-time situation. It's a lifelong journey. It has taken years and decades for me to get to this place. But now that I'm here, I'm unapologetic about the fact that I'm healed in several areas. I'm unapologetic about the fact that I am whole in many areas. I'm unapologetic about the fact that I love, and I love deeply, and I love sincerely, and I don't have to have a motive behind my love. My love is, you don't have to pay for it. Guess what? It just, I give it. But I also demand the same respect that I'm going to give you, because I'm going to always give respect and honor.
Absolutely.
My God.
And that doesn't cost you a thing. It just costs you simply to be respectful.
Yeah. And Shantell, pay it forward. How about that? That's,
Yes,
That part.
I'm just saying, like, that to me, that is the only reason why we're here. That's the only reason why we're here. Is to
Yes.
discover who you want to be and pay that forward. That's
yes,
it. Because
absolutely.
if you do that, what would make your life? Your life changes. The people around you, their life changes. They're motivated and inspired by who you are. Your marriage becomes better. Your relationship with your kids becomes better. Your
Mhm.
business relationship becomes better. You are in the process of doing more by just being who you are put on this earth to be.
Right.
And
Yeah.
be your best self when you pay it forward. As
And
complicated as that may be to some, and easy that it may be to some others, there may be those hurdles of insecurities and things like that that may creep in. But remind yourself who the hell you are and where it is that you want to be, and then be your best self doing it.
absolutely. Um, Talked about best selves. I have a client who has now been taking some of my immune boost shots. I know plenty of people have heard about them, right? The ginger turmeric shots that you make and take, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I do like a general health evaluation with people. I tell them, let me know what dis-ease you have in your body. I say it just like that because it's a dis-ease, it's a disorder. And because our bodies are trained to heal themselves. Like the
Right.
other day, I cut myself in the kitchen. You can barely see the cut now, because I literally put some cayenne pepper in it, and within minutes the bleeding stopped completely. And people like, cayenne pepper, that's gonna burn. No, it doesn't. That burns when it hits the taste buds. It doesn't burn when it hits the cut. It literally stops bleeding, and it produces and promotes healing.
Mm.
So, but he's been taking my products now for 6 months. He's a truck driver, and he has been cheating, he said, on his eye exams every year to keep his CDL to take care of his family, because he had lost vision in one eye.
Whoa.
He had 2 glaucoma surgeries that did nothing. He's been taking my immune boost shots that I tailored specifically for him. And because he's married, I made sure I add a little maca root into it also, so his wife will be happy too. But um, but
Love it.
you know about that, yes.
Yes, I
So
do. Yes.
and him taking it though, his sight has been restored in his eyes. He literally said it's only one little spot now that he still has a blurriness from the glaucoma. And he said, and even that's going away. He said, I can see colors. I can close my good eye and see and drive. He said, I can see at night to drive now. He said, I don't know what you're putting in those shots, but all I can tell you is I don't want to be without them. So he orders a month's supply. I ship it to him about a week before he runs out of the one that he's on. And he's like, I want to make sure that I'm not out of this ever, because this has changed my life. Not to mention, he's lost 25 pounds and he doesn't exercise at all. And
Wow.
so, like I tell people, I pray about it and I hear what to put in it based upon what you're dealing with and what I know based upon herbs, trees, leaves, spices, whatever, so that I can make sure that it's beneficial in every area of your life. And so all we're trying to do is make sure that we're here to be and help. I want to help people to become the best version of themselves, whatever that looks like, whatever your goal is, the best version of yourself. You want to be a better financier for your family? Let me help you. You want to become a better business owner? Let me help you. You want to become a better heal. You want to become better in your health? Let me help you. You want to become better in your mental stability? I have a whole master's degree for that. Let me help you. You want to become better and not be broken and have those trauma responses? Guess what? I'm also a whole licensed pastor for that. Let me help you. Because at the end of the day, when someone offers to help and you see that there is help out there, then you understand that I don't have to stay this way. I don't have to remain this way. I don't have to circle and cycle around the same generational curses that I saw my aunt and my grandmother, my mother go through and don't understand why. Because the sins of the father still visit unto the child to the third and fourth generation. And most of us don't even know two generations before us. We won't even discuss the third and fourth ones, right?
Right.
But when we can get to those root issues, when we can address these things and get people healed in different areas and get them moving in the positive, as I call it, speaking in the positive, because we live in a return to sender universe. Whatever you say out of your mouth, guess what? You are destined to live it out. Now, depending on the level of passion that you said behind it, guess what? That's how fast it's going to come back to you.
Right. That's right. Denai, give us a final question.
What do you want your legacy to be?
Um, I want my legacy to be that there are billions and billions of people that I was able to help affect, impact, to have better lives, better health, better mental stability, a better or closer walk with source, with their creator. And they are whole in every area of their life. And it becomes infectious, contagious. I want to have that type of Mother Teresa vibe. I'm not shooting to be her, definitely not. However, I want to be able to infect and affect people in that level and that capacity. So they don't have to remember my name. Just remember that there was someone who was willing to help you. And in you getting help, they equipped you to help others. And now we're gonna start a whole pandemic, a whole epidemic about being a helper, being a help meet, helping other people meet their needs, helping other people exceed and excel their expectations, helping people become the best version of themselves, helping people become their higher selves, and knowing that all of it was done. And they did it, and it was not a struggle. It was not super painful. It was not something that you were teased about, joked about. It was done in a loving environment.
Um,
I want my grandkids to grow up in a better world.
Not only is your placement on this earth and universe appreciated, um, I feel like, I go through my day, I get up, I have my routine. I'm like, you know what, today is going to be a great day. So already I'm there. Like talking to you, and I always feel like I said, just forgive me when I say this. Always talking to you, I feel like, dang, I feel good, but I feel like I gotta go do more now. Like I just feel like there's like something else I feel like I'm not doing right now that I need to go do from talking to you. And I think it's a gift in a lot of ways because again, that's that false sense of security about who I am. And even though it's great that I feel great, there's still another level that I still feel like I need to go or do or say or whatever it is. So sometimes people help people push people in different directions in terms of
Mhm.
what it looks like. So I want to not just thank you, but I appreciate you for the service that you are providing for the world. It's not just a generational thing, it is a conscious thing that a lot of people can use or utilize, which is very important. So I need everybody to go to training with the number 4life inc.info. Make sure you do that. It's on our websites currently. It is running through commercials here currently. It is promoted here with a good reach currently. And it's going to stay that way because I think what you do is important for people. So if people can help people, like you mentioned, like we mentioned, life will be good. But we have to practice this every day. We have to do this. And if you don't do it, we're going to run into some issues of accountability and everything else that I feel like we need to do for each other. That's it. That's all. But then I ask you a last question. I'm going to ask you a random last question as well. And it has nothing to do with what we talked about right now. It's based on
Okay.
it's based on music.
Okay.
And I ask this for a lot of people. Music, it's emotional. It's an attachment. You have some songs where it might make you cry, might make you feel good. Gospel music always puts me. I could be in a great moment of clarity, and a certain song comes on, and it breaks me down in tears, of joy, of whatever else. Right.
Mhm.
I'm asking because I would love to know, what is your favorite music decade? A decade where you're like, you know what, this music was tremendous, from whatever it was that makes you remember about that decade of music.
So I'm a firm believer, definitely music, and everyone knows this, music is definitely a frequency, and that frequency is the only thing in this realm that can change your emotional state without your permission. So yes, that is
Very-
absolutely true. Um, but for me, if we're going to talk about past, I mean, currently I'm loving this genre, but I'm only listening to a certain type. And there's one particular artist that I listen to every single day, but that's because of my worship, that's because of my lifestyle and so forth. That's Apostle Victoria Orenza. She's out of Nigeria. But as far as past, I'm a 70s baby, so definitely the 80s was like the stuff.
Okay.
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 Yeah.
All right. All right. All
Um, you know, I think it's funny because one of my girlfriends put a post up and she said, you know, I love Boys and Men. They had us sitting there crying like we were about to go through a divorce just because somebody had kids one time broke up with us, you know?
So true. So true.
Yes, yes. And so, I mean, definitely, I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of those artists.
Nice.
Definitely, Belle Biv DeVoe, when they came to Clark Atlanta University, I was working for the police department there. No, actually, no, I wasn't. That was later. I was actually there to see them. And they were singing Poison as I was coming back in from, the little intermission or whatever.
Mhm.
And I came in a few minutes late, always, how we do. We got to make sure it's an entrance, right? And he was singing Poison, and this man said, "Never trust a big button to smile," and pointed at me. And I thought, at first, I wanted to climb under the bleachers. I did. Um, and all the attention that it drew to me, I wanted to run. Then,
Yeah.
I've had a lot of encounters, and so it's I've had an interesting life. I've had an opportunity to meet a lot of famous people. Not that I'm into meeting famous people or whatever,
Mhm.
but over the years, from John Sally to Tony, all of these people. And I never forget being at the Fox and seeing Prince.
Okay.
My favorite.
Okay.
He sang when Two Are in Love and held that last note and went into a station. I was like, he called me. So I had to get into a stage. He called me. And so, yes, but I think that we grew up in a time when music was much more about love and community and about respecting yourself and others. And so, as that shifted, and they wanted to shift the mindset of the people, they
Mhm.
shifted and changed the frequencies and all this other things. And so now you have what we have. So I don't really listen to I'll listen to some gospel rap or whatever.
Mhm.
That's only when I'm doing my long road trips because I'll get in the car and drive 12 hours to Georgia like it's nobody's business.
Right.
But yeah, other than that, that's about it for me as far as music.
No, I got you. I got you. So 80s is your decade. So I love
Mhm.
it. I love it. So lastly, so if 80s is your decade, what about fashion in the 80s that you would take from then and bring it to 2025 now?
Mm, fashion. Woo. I think the one thing that we did very well in the 80s, we color coordinated. It was very we was
True.
we
Very
was fly
true.
with the colors, okay?
Very
And
true.
we would have the vibrant colors, and you know what I'm saying, or we would go to the pastels or whatever, but we matched from head to toe, and it was, I mean, and it was we was hot with it, okay? That was the one thing.
Okay.
And people still say I do that now. I don't mind if, I mean, I'm on black and white today, but yeah, I'm good with my bright oranges, my hot pinks, my purples, my lavender.
I love it.
My
I
book,
love it.
my book cover had to be lavender, right? Like me and the purple, we got a special thing.
All right. All right. Anybody and everybody out there, please make sure you go ahead and check out Shantell Smith by going to training with the number 4life inc.info. And Shantell, I can't thank you enough for not just taking this time today, but just again, I will stress the work that you do is important, not just to me and Denia, but to other people who are catching this energy, and their curiosity is going to lead them to your website so they can be able to get to know you. So I can't thank you enough.
May I say one more thing?
Sure.
Okay, so Denia knows that I just finished the month of August. I did a 30-day walk through my new book. I released this book in the middle of June this year. It's called The Power of Intention. And it was my journey to be intentional about my health, my finances, my mental state, my physical state, all of these things, and financial state. And so I just walk people one chapter at a time. And I did a training and teaching on. I had a private Facebook group, and I uploaded all the videos to my YouTube channel. I am Training4Life. But the beautiful thing is, in this book, I've gotten so many people testimonies saying that it has answered so many questions they had, because I'm a firm believer in, yes, we can talk about scripture all day long, but if I'm only hearing about Paul's story, Daniel's story, David's story, you know, that doesn't touch Shantell.
Right.
But if I can see how that is applied to my life today in 2025, now we can talk about some stuff. Now we can start working on some stuff. Now we can actually get, down the dirt, roll up our sleeves, and we can get to work on some things.
Yes.
And that's the beautiful thing about this book. Reading it back over with this group of people, I was shocked at my growth. I was shocked at some of the things that came up and out of me. And so I'm now working on completing my workbook to go with the book, as well as my next book. But as I'm doing this, I'm not doing it for recognition, so to speak, but I'm doing it because there are so many people that come to me that have questions about how to get here, how to do this, how do you understand this? Like, I'm reading this, but it's not making sense. Or how, and I give you practical tools and tips so that you can apply this to your life. If it doesn't help you, then I failed. But I've been getting testimony after testimony of people saying how it is helping, how it's changing, how it's making them better, how it's making them want to be better, want to heal, want to grow, want to save more, wanted to learn about their finances more. And so when we can trigger that mindset in each other, we've done our job.
Trigger it, spark that trigger, but also here's the accountability piece to continue to turn it into a habit. Like you said, 90 days, right? Not 21, 90 days.
90
yeah. days. That's powerful right there, because to me, that's a level up that I need to make sure that I hold on to myself. And these habits are good. This is what I live for. So, but this is perfect. This is perfect. I need everybody to go check it out. I am going to I am Training4Life on YouTube, and also you could you can LinkedIn search Shantell Smith as well. She's on X. She's on Facebook. I'll make sure all those things are where it needs to be in terms of like the kind of support that I feel like you need, not just from us, but others, to pay it forward and to do what needs to be done. So once again, thank you for not just coming on the Nexxlegacy and being a part of our lives, but thank you for just doing the things that you do on a daily basis.
Absolutely. Thank you all for having me. I enjoyed it, Danielle. Thank you. It has been a pleasure meeting you and knowing you and working with you. You are an absolute love, and this relationship is going upward and onward.
Most definitely.
All the way up. All the way
Thank
up.
you.
All the way up.
All the way up. All the way up.
Thanks a lot, Shantell. Take
Love
care.
meeting you. Thank you.
Blessings.